The simplest word in all of the Russian language, at least for English speakers, has to be Sputnik. Now, most English speakers would actually pronounce this as Sputnik, but yeah, the real pronunciation is Sputnik, and it literally translates to just satellite. So the first satellite in space was just called satellite. Now the second simplest word is samolyot. Now samolyot, as you can see here, just means self-flying. And this is actually, as you'll see, a common theme in the Russian language, since, for example, a scooter is samokat, so self-rolling, and tiern is a self-boiler. So yeah, this is just a very common theme in the Russian language. So it makes it pretty simple to learn these types of words. Now the third one is bespilotnik. Now bespilotnik is the Russian word for a drone, which is without a pilot. That's what it translates to. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Now the fourth one is robot. Now robot is actually originally a Czech word for peasants, because robotat or robotnik is like working or worker. So robot basically is just something that does work for you. That's what it means directly. Telephone is just distant voice, so tele is like, talking, and phone is background, so distant, you could say. Now these two words originally come from the Greek language, but I guess they just weren't ever changed since they were introduced to the Russian language. So yeah, that's what telephone means, and when you say telephone in English, it means the same exact thing, just in Greek. So here, samakat, just as I said, samakat means self-rolling, and as you can see, sama just means self. So sama actually is the feminine way of saying it, so if you're a male, you would say sam instead of sama, and yeah, kat is rolling. In Russian, ice cream is called morozhno. Now, the reason why is because samorozhno means frozen, so morozhno is just a bit like the shortened word of it. Now the funny part is something that I just realized, that samorozhno means self-frozen. So again, there's lots of these self things in the Russian language. Next one is samovar, which means self-boiler. So basically, as you can see, this is a tiern, and yeah, in Russia it's just called a self-boiler. Now bezdelnik is someone who is a slacker, so it basically just means slacker, and the direct translation is without doing. And as you can see, all my other examples had very creative transitions, but yeah, this one doesn't do anything. And the last simple example of the simple video, which might not make much sense, but you'll see, is bezopasno, which means without danger. And yeah, I perfectly illustrated this through this wonderful diagram. Sadly, I couldn't have any animations on this thing because I drew it myself, as you can see by the creativity that went into it, but yeah, if I could, I would have made it something pretty funny. I'll just make the text be exaggerative or something. I don't know, I'll see. Now here's where it gets a little bit more complicated, but here, as you can see, Soviet Union is Sovietsky Soyuz. Now the reason why I have this here as a simple word is because you've heard this word many times before, Soviet, but you probably just didn't know what it meant. So Soviet means to suggest. So Soviet Union basically just means like union of suggestors. That's exactly what it means. And Sovietsky Soyuz is just how you say it in Russian. Gulag, which is also a Russian word which you've heard many times before, I bet, is actually an acronym for Главное управление лагеря. So Главное means main, управление is like administration, and лагеря is camps. So Gulag is just the main administrative body of the prison camps. So that's what it is.